Hello and welcome to CBC Arts Exhibitionist, the TV show that immerses you in the beauty and brilliance of the Canadian arts world. I'm your host, Amanda Paris. In today's episode, you'll meet an artist inspired by his local strip mall, a painter who lost her ability to see images in her mind, a barber who expresses his creativity through his clippers and a paintbrush, and the woman who's taken Drake's larger-than-life persona and made it tiny. Are you excited for it? Well, you should be, because this is CBC Arts Exhibitionist. You can thank us later.
I'm Juliana Lupine. I'm a Brazilian-Canadian sculptor. I test, create, and teach polymer clay techniques. Every art was important for me to express myself, and that's why I went to performing school in Brazil and became an actress. So years later, I moved to Canada when I met my husband, and I couldn't really act because I didn't speak English. For our wedding, I made our own wedding cake topper. And it was such a hit on the wedding, like people weren't even taking pictures of me. They just wanted pictures of the cake topper, and eventually I started selling those cake toppers. I started with a project called Let the Woman Speak, that is about domestic violence, and also some celebrities because I do like practicing portraits. My sculptures are all miniature portraits. They go from 80 centimeters to 24 centimeters, and they are all one-of-a-kind pieces. I had already a lot of followers from Brazil. I became very popular in there as a teacher. But just after I sculpted Fred Mercury video, then it was something insane. Overnight, I reached almost 10 million views. And I was receiving phone calls from all over the world during the whole night, like from China and like people speaking other languages. And then I gained international popularity after this video. The most amazing thing about being a sculptor is that I can work from home. And I'm a mother of young kids, so I have this huge craft table right beside my studio where they can work.
The best thing about our mom is that she can teach us how to be artists.
It's just so wonderful to be able to work right beside them.
It feels good to have an artist mom. My mom sculpted Beetlejuice because my sister wanted to marry him. No, don't tell him! Don't tell them!
I would say my most remarkable trait is my attention to details. I'm kind of a detail freak, I think. I was thinking to sculpt Tupac. I wanted to put some hip-hop style on my music idols. But then I moved to close to Toronto, and I thought I might as well sculpt Drake. I have the need to change from time to time and really sculpt what speaks to me. He's local and fresh and so influential, and not to mention that the kids are crazy about him. He's also involved in a lot of charities, projects, and that's really important to me. I really like that. And I love to spread joy through my creations.
Is this Drake?
Yeah.
Can you make one?
Yeah, do you like Drake? I don't like to define myself as an artist. You know, I follow my emotions, my instincts, my heart, and those can be very unpredictable, and so can be my art.
People have dissected almost every aspect of Drake, but I think Juliana may be the first person to break him all the way down to the skeleton. Artists are often the people who help us look at the world in a new way. When was the last time you paid special attention to the alleyway between two stores, or gazed in awe at the service road behind your local Tim Hortons? Well, this next artist is determined to pull these seemingly banal locations back into your field of vision. Take a look.
While at NASCAD, I started making these paintings of parking lots. Consumerism was just a theme in my work and has been a recurring theme for the last 14 years or so. I had a friend, he called my paintings brandscapes at some point. It's more stuff on the periphery outside of cities that I'm interested in. The highways and overpasses and gas stations. I'm a pretty shy person when I meet people and fairly quiet, but I have my artwork and it's sort of a way of putting myself out there. I'm Jack Bishop. I'm a painter. I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Growing up in like a suburban area, there wasn't much to do other than drive around and hang out. And I was trying to capture a bit of that and eventually starting to use the business storefronts. I have a big stockpile of photos that I've just been collecting over the years, and then I'm always adding to it. From those photos, I'll change them and add to them or cut them up and collage them together, and that's kind of where the sort of the magic happens for me. You know, doing the collages, it's just a kind of a way of breaking out of the single frame of a photograph. Once I'm painting, it's almost like it's a different mentality because you're thinking about it in a different way, thinking about color and texture and just the way that paint looks and moves across the surface of something. So I've kind of been taking a step back more lately and embracing the limitations of the photos and having some cuts up in my composition to show that it is something that I put together. I try to jam as much imagery into it and then even try to go beyond what I do with a photograph to push the limits of what painting can do. I guess I like the opportunity for different meaning to be read into it. It's almost like it's a melting pot that like people can kind of pick their own reaction to it. Thinking about it like in regards to art history and how it relates to Canadian art or like landscape painting in general. You could think about it commercially or in a political or even ecological sense. To bring somebody over into this world and have that reaction from them, it's pretty cool.
Throughout this episode, in between each of our stories, you're gonna see some sneak peeks of art created by our exhibitionist in residence, someone we'd love you to learn more about. Meet this week's artist. Coming up, meet the artist whose aphantasia has inspired a new way of painting.
If I try and work without a photograph, I get lost. It's like I have no bearings. Like I can't form shapes in my mind even, like I can't form anything.
Can you imagine not being able to picture things in your brain? Can you imagine what it would be like if the eyes in your memory stopped working? Now imagine you're going through all of that and you're a painter. The act of visualization is so important for artists. How do you create when you can't do that anymore? Sheri Bakes lost the ability to picture things in her mind, but this pushed her to find a new process so that she could keep creating. Take a look.
I don't see individual paintings as individual paintings because they all sort of live into each other. Arrange them all together, you'd see one large, huge landscape. This is what I really believe. It'll be done when I'm dead. I'm Sheri Bakes, and I'm a painter. Hey. What are you doing? I feel like I should clean up a bit, but yeah. So it's small-ish, but I think it just feels unpretentious, I guess, to me a little bit, and just not polished. That makes me feel like I can relax, and that's sort of most important with painting. Like, I need to be able to relax. It's just a matter of choosing what photo I want to spend the rest of the next however long on this painting. If I try and work without a photograph, I get lost. It's like I have no bearings. Like I can't form shapes in my mind even, like I can't form anything. So the photograph, it gives me a map to follow. I guess my work's been described as like loosely rendered, windswept landscape. It pulls in and out of abstraction. Sometimes it's a little more abstract than others. I kind of draw from the Impressionists and pointillism a little bit. Seeing the cherry blossoms falling on the ground and stippling the surface of the ground. I just really like that sort of electric feel that has. Sorry, I should have asked you, can I go? Are you ready? When I was 29, which is 19 years ago, I had a stroke. Like, I kept going to the eye doctor and saying there's something wrong with my eyes. Like, I can't see properly when I'm internally blind, basically. Professor Adam Zeman is a neurologist, and he's been doing, like, spearheading all the research on it. I was actually driving in my car, listening to the CBC, and an interview with him came on, and I was so in shock that that's what I was struggling with. What it did for my work is helped the process of it, because I was no longer struggling with something I was trying to get back. It was more art therapy, I think, is what I was doing before. Whereas now I'm not interested in that at all, really. I don't feel the need to dissect. I try to just be kind of present as much as possible. You can go. Easy. Do you want to go jump? His back's a little bit sore. River. Life is kind of a moving meditation, I think, when you get out of the way and just be a witness, you know?
Coming up, meet the artist whose tools include the paintbrush and the hairbrush.
Sometimes when I design or someone says, come up with something from my hair, and I'm like, wow, it kind of look cool if like a dove was perched on top of this hair. When I'm in that moment, you know, I always say I'm in the Matrix. Don't talk to me, I'm in the Matrix. You know, and pretty much that hair just opens up to me. I'm Kwame Delfish, and I'm an artist. Whether it's the paintbrush, whether it's the hairbrush, that's pretty much my weapon of choice. In the early 90s, designs were a huge thing, and everybody wanted the best barber, the hottest design. It was just like, you need to walk out with that cut. I asked my dad to get me a set of clippers so I can do designs. And it just became a thing I became known for. I spent a lot of time cutting men, you know, and men were structured, you know. Women's hair in the last few years has taken off. Here was an opportunity to create a creative space. A creative space for women, and I do more designs on women than I do on men. It's amazing some of the platforms that these women wear these styles, and it's, you know, I'm just trying to do my part in carving out the new norm. So my dad's he's very creative, and he worked as an architect. My mom is a seamstress and a creative herself. They did a good job in really pushing some of my creative ideas at an early age. Any community there was an art program I was in. Painting was always the thing. This new project that I want to do is just illustrating natural hair in a unique way. Sometimes when I design or someone says, come up with something from my hair, and I'm like, wow, It kind of look cool if like a dove was perched on top of this hair, and I can almost carve something close to that, which is really cool. So on canvas now, the beauty about painting is I can stretch that imagination and actually take it there and show some of these symbols I actually see when I'm designing these hairstyles. These elements of nature are what we use in these products to really nurture natural hair. So it's hand in hand. So I think it'll be really cool. I'm really excited about it. And I think it'll be really fun and something unique, kind of stretching the audience's mind to kind of think of women's hair differently. I think it's an opportunity for me to always express what I see. Whether it's the paintbrush, whether it's the hairbrush, I use a brush.
An artist killing the game on the canvas and in the barber chair. You love to see it. If there's an artist you think should be on CBC Arts Exhibitionist, send me a message on social media. Our handle is @CBC Arts. FYI, if you want even more eye candy, we have over hundreds of hours ready for your perusal on YouTube. We currently have over 93,000 followers. Help us to get to 100K. Tune in next week when we'll be doing another deep dive into the fascinating work of Canadian artists. Peace.